everybody. I'm Cathy. This is Parky. Can I get you all to say hello, Parky? Hello. Thank you. That wasn't for him. It just made me feel better. So he's going to sit and watch the talk on here. Sit up straight, Parky. There we go. I'm here to talk to you about my shaky future and what a raccoon taught me about resilience. It all began in the year 2011. That was the year my world changed. It was here in this beautiful city of Hamburg that I sat in a doctor's office on a Friday afternoon and heard him say the words, "It's Parkinson's or a brain tumour. Come back on Monday, we'll run more tests. Have a good weekend." Guess what? I did not have a good weekend. I did have a lot of red wine, however. When I went back on Monday, I quickly had the diagnosis: early onset Parkinson's disease. I was 38 years old. What had started as a little shake in my finger had become a terrifying diagnosis. My world literally became shaky overnight. What would I do? What would this mean for me? Well, after I got over the admittedly rather large shock, I did what we all do, I think. I Googled. I wanted to know, what would this mean for me? And I found out that Parkinson's has over 40 symptoms that can affect your body and your mind, starting with apathy, depression, going down your body, tremor like I have now, stiffness, rigidity, urinary issues, sleep issues. What would my future hold? What one of these symptoms would affect me? The fact is, I didn't know. I had no idea what was coming. So I kept researching, and I found out that Parkinson's is a lot more common than you think. 1 in 15 men in the Western world will develop Parkinson's in their lifetime. 1 in 15. That's a lot of people. It's growing 20% faster than Alzheimer's disease. It's the most common neurological condition, and it's growing the fastest. Well, let's be optimistic, because I am an eternal optimist. I said to myself, surely this must mean that there's a cure on the horizon, right? I mean, Parkinson's has been known for 200 years. Polio was dealt with in the 60s. HIV has been around for less than a quarter of that time. Surely there's a cure on the horizon. Well, guess what year the biggest breakthrough in Parkinson's medication was made? 1961. That's over 60 years ago. That's before I was born. And this is when the biggest breakthrough in Parkinson's medication was made. Let's put that in context. In 1961, JFK said, "I believe we should commit to the goal, before the decade is out, of putting a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth." In 1961, the Berlin Wall was built. In 1961, the UN condemned apartheid. And in 1961, levodopa was discovered as this magic treatment for Parkinson's. Now, we all know man walked on the moon 8 years later. The Berlin Wall fell in 1989. Apartheid was overcome in the early 90s. And yet levodopa is still the standard treatment for Parkinson's disease. What is going on? Why is this not getting sorted out faster? Well, what can you do? I stayed optimistic. I did what you do when you're in your late 30s. I lived my life. I raised my children, drank wine with my husband, went on holidays, went to work. I got on with life. But at the back of my mind, I knew, you might have a bit of a problem here, because levodopa only stays super effective for a few years, and then fluctuations start to set in. So I have taken levodopa now today to be on stage, but I still can't quite suppress the tremor. that's there. And as I get older, that will get worse. Don't like the sound of that. It's not really appealing to me. So I kept researching, and I said, there must be a joker. There must be something out there, right? Some help in some way. The joker is called, drumroll, deep brain stimulation. What's that? I said to myself when my doctor suggested it. Well, in a nutshell, deep brain stimulation is where they put electrodes in your skull, connect them with a wire, a bit like the wire of my microphone now, down to a battery pack and a computer in my chest. They link the whole thing up, they give you a remote control, and you can turn on your stimulation. Pro tip, do not leave the remote control beside the television. So, this was my best option. Brain surgery? Really? Not only brain surgery, awake brain surgery, said the doctor. We prefer you to be awake during surgery. It's like, oh, I don't know if I prefer to be awake, but I'll take what I can get. So in 2020, when the rest of the world was dealing with COVID, I decided to go for it. I was going to have brain surgery. Now, I could have decided just to bake sourdough bread like everybody else, but no, brain surgery it was for me. And I'm sure you're all dying to know what brain surgery is like, right? So I'm not going to spare you. Brain surgery gives you a really bad haircut. This is me just before the operation. They're shaving my head here at the front. It's long at the back. I think Germans call this Fokuhila. It's a great look. Really, totally recommendable. And this is me during surgery. So my eyes are closed, but I do remember a lot. I remember the drilling, and I've always been afraid of dentists, so this was next level. I remember having a super dry nose and mouth from the oxygen I had to breathe in. And I remember the doctor saying to me, can you speak and move your fingers so we can be sure we haven't hit the wrong part of your brain? Like, I'll support that. So I spoke a lot. Didn't shut up for most of the operation. The good thing about brain surgery, though, this is me just a couple of hours later. It's not actually painful because your brain has no pain receptors. So when I woke up, I was feeling quite cheerful. There's Parky the raccoon. I'll get to him in a minute. And I'd like to share with you a video of when the doctor turned on the stimulation. So I'm shaking away. I hadn't had medication for quite a while because of the operation. And the doctor is now literally opening up a computer, turning on his few programs, and my hand, which was very, very shaky, suddenly becomes still. I'm grinning like a Cheshire cat, believe me. This was a wonderful moment. This meant I could finally carry 2 pints of Guinness down from the bar.
Auf der rechten Seite, ja?
Ja.
Jetzt sagen Sie mal die Wochentage.
You have to focus on the important stuff, right? But in all seriousness, it was a really new beginning for me. I decided to quit my job of a rather wonderful company here in Hamburg. Hello, English business friends. And to dedicate myself full-time to patient advocacy. Now, why did I do this? I had realized that you cannot future-proof the world. You can only future-proof your reaction to what happens to you. Will you develop Parkinson's in your lifetime? I really, really, really hope not. Will you ever have to have brain surgery? I doubt it. I really doubt it. But if there's one thing I'm sure of, life will throw some curveball at you. You might not know what it is. You mightn't see it coming. It could be a big curveball or a small one. But come, it will. That is for sure. And I believe that resilience is key to dealing with these curveballs that life throws at us. That brings me to Parky the raccoon. So Parky is the mascot of the World Parkinson Coalition, a wonderful organization that helps people with Parkinson's worldwide. And this is our family of Parkies. There's one for every member of our family. So 4 people, 4 Parkies, and people from Hamburg might note that, the hat. Our Parkies are St. Pauli fans. Why a raccoon, I hear you ask? Why choose a raccoon? Well, I wouldn't have known this myself, but apparently raccoons are adaptable, resourceful, clever, creative, and curious. These are all traits that resilient people need. So Parky was chosen by the World Parkinson Coalition to remind people with Parkinson's that they need resilience in dealing with their disease, with what is to come in their very shaky future. But what makes a person resilient? Well, there are tons of studies done on this, right? Loads of traits are listed as making a person resilient. But for me personally, there are 3 that are super important. Having choices, being optimistic, and having goals. I most certainly did not choose to have Parkinson's, but I chose my reaction to Parkinson's. I chose to have brain surgery. I chose to be optimistic about the outcome. I chose to dedicate myself to the collective goal of patient advocacy. Because he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. I love this quote. Let's look at it again. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Parkinson's is not fun. It's a burden. But I've chosen to let it give me purpose. And that is what helps me to go through life. Now, this is me on my first day of school, 1976. Kind of giving away how old I am. Love the dress, Mom. If I had known back then what was in store for me, would it have helped me in any way? Of course not, because resilience is built with time, right? Think of a 2-year-old. We just had the example of children. A 2-year-old whose toy is taken away from them. The first time it happens, they kick, they scream, they throw a tantrum. We all know the drill. But they learn with time. They learn that maybe life isn't too bad without the toy. They learn to accept. Just like a school child learns to fail a test or to deal with fighting with their best friend. A young adult deals with a broken heart or deals with getting a job rejection. We all learn resilience with time. And I believe that you can carry, like I carried that little briefcase with me through school very proudly, you can learn to carry a toolkit of resilience with you. You can learn resilient behavior. Why am I showing you a picture of a London bus? Bear with me for 1 second. In 1949, a scientist named Jerry Morris decided he was going to find out why people were having heart attacks. What were the different heart attack rates in the city of London? And 2 occupations that he studied were bus driver and bus conductor. What did he find out? He found out that bus drivers have twice as many heart attacks as bus conductors. Why was this? Because, think of the London bus, double-decker, the bus conductors are running up and down stairs all day. In other words, they're exercising. It was the first time that anybody had created a correlation between exercise and heart disease. Now, today we all know how important this is. We know we should walk to work, we should go jogging, we should get up off the couch and exercise. But back then, in 1949, it was the first time anybody had made this connection. That's pretty incredible. So I ask you, should we create healthy habits? Should we create healthy habits, not just physical ones, not just getting us off the couch, but habits that make us more resilient. Given the uncertain future we're all facing, I certainly believe we should. So let me end with this picture of Parky, and let me bring Parky back onto the stage for this. And let me invite you all to tap into your inner raccoons and foster resilience. Thank you very much.